This is about sharing ideas, and this is hopefully the beginning of a series where we just talk about tech stuff. Tech is always growing, tech is always changing, and I figured even if we don't have an exact answer, we should be able to help each other. Yes?
Yes.
If you're going to teach and you're going to be using PowerPoint, here are some things you need to know. All right, let us get started. I like to start on time. Sorry, I am a minute late. That's okay. It's just us. Welcome. Yay. I'm so glad we can start to do stuff together. And it is not going to be formal. I'm just going to tell y'all right now. I told them earlier, I put on a t-shirt. This is about sharing ideas. And this is hopefully the beginning of a series where we just talk about tech stuff. Because, excuse me, I shouldn't have had that soda. That's why I don't do it in class. Because, I mean, tech is always growing, tech is always changing. And I figured even if we don't have an exact answer, we should be able to help each other. Yes?
Yes.
So I'm not going to call it a round table. I'm not going to call it. What I want to do is I just put together a very, very small little PowerPoint slideshow because I have to. And it's just full of different basics. So I went through, I did a little research and I said, okay, what are some of the basic things that it didn't matter what type of teacher it was, where you could go and they're like, okay, if you're going to teach and you're going to be using PowerPoint, here are some things you need to know. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And because it's not formal, it's topics. So let's talk, let's share. If you have a question, ask it. If it turns out somebody needs like a lot of hand holding, I don't mind if let's say, excuse me, Chris Barnett's like, I don't know how to do X, Y, Z. Then I wouldn't mind putting him in a room with, John and John being, okay, let me show you slowly in a breakout room. So it's an opportunity. It's a dedicated time for us to grow together because Lord knows I don't have all the answers, but I'm thinking together we might just.
I know how to use an overhead projector. Can I help anybody in a breakout room on how to use an overhead projector?
Oh, I love those.
Yes, my transparencies. How do I do color transparencies?
Well, Chris, was that project?
A color printer, Candy.
All of mine are rose colored.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm assuming that projector had like little dinosaurs on the inside and they were like, all right. So we can see my slides, yes, just like to get the thumbs up, making sure we are good. And so I thought we'd start with some software basics and a little bit of hardware too, just because before we can even get in how to use the program, I want to make sure that you understand just, I don't need this, y'all, you understand. So I wanted to talk about the fact that some of us have PCs, some of us have Macs. I guess I'm missing a V there. And some of us use Google-based stuff. And I'm just wondering and this was a question for me. Well, first I should say this. Is there anybody who doesn't understand why those distinctions are different? All right, I just like to make sure because, if you're new to computers, it's a thing. And if you're going to be doing something and sharing it with people, I don't know, is it just me? Sometimes I get people that say, oh, I do everything in Google Slides. And for me, that's the worstest. Yeah. But is there anybody that loves Google Slide and why?
Yeah, so Candace, one of the things I've run into, if I got a new instructor that's using a Mac, if they're going to use my presentations, right? So my presentations I've done on an HP. So they've got Keynote on their machine and it may not convert correctly and they may lose things. So it's good for them to also have PowerPoint on their Mac rather than trying to just use Keynote because it doesn't, the material doesn't quite map right.
I would agree. Does anybody use Keynote as a main? I'm a Mac person, but I don't use Keynote just because I like to be able to share. Anybody?
I have a Mac also, but I don't use Keynote.
Do you Google or do you PowerPoint?
PowerPoint.
Just had a show of hands. How many of us, who does use Google? Dag, y'all. We're just keeping Microsoft and and pay. Dag. So let me ask you all this question. And I mean, somebody else can, I will take over a meeting if y'all let me, but let's
Candace,
say,
let me
Go
interrupt
ahead.
you just for a second.
Mhm.
When you say Google, so if I go to Google Drive and I put a lot of my stuff into Google Drive, and instructors can go to Google Drive and they can download my PPTX
Mhm.
files, or they can show them in Google Slides, which is another problem unto its own, because Google Slides doesn't always work.
Right.
you know, that's, again, I threw these slides together. That's exactly what I meant, the Google Slides. When people in other issues, I mean, obviously not y'all, since we're all using PowerPoint, but when people give me slides in Google Slides, I'm like, geez, why? I'm going to have to just redo this anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't understand. Now I don't know. And I was thinking of it from a point of view, eventually, I think it'd be great if, maybe NCREA needs to have some basics or something like that. But it sounds to me like as a group, we're kind of all team Microsoft PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Think so?
So
Yeah. And way to think about Google more so than Mac. Most of us sound like we're PowerPoint people, so you're probably mostly familiar with Microsoft Office or Office 360, whatever you want to call it. So Word, PowerPoint, and all stuff. It's a suite of stuff. Well, Google has a very large suite of apps, which I don't care for, but they have all kinds of stuff. Recently, I put out a survey, and I forgot we even before, Candace, I don't remember what we did. There's a Survey Monkey going out now, but before that, I did a Google Forms survey. So Google has all kinds of great stuff you can use, but I tend to agree with what you're all saying. Their slides, their PowerPoint stuff, and their doc manager, and it doesn't really integrate. But they have a
I'm
lot of
with you.
other really cool things you can use.
Is there anything else out there besides, I mean, there's Keynote, there's PowerPoint. Is anybody aware of anything that we can use instead of those things?
I would,
Prezi.
yeah, talk to Matt Davies.
Mhm.
Matt's probably got something.
It's kind of expensive, but I use Adobe Acrobat a lot.
Oh, it is expensive.
So it is expensive.
Yeah.
So we are all used to creating PDFs probably.
Yeah.
What's nice about Adobe Acrobat is if like Candace and I were doing this past weekend, Candace popped me a PDF and I needed to chunk it up into individual slides.
Yeah.
So Adobe Acrobat can do that for me right away, but it is kind of pricey. But I really like Adobe Acrobat because you can do all kinds of stuff.
Well, the
Latoya, go ahead.
the files are a little bit big on Adobe Acrobat too.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, if you look at the size of those files, and I have Deb Long and I have that elective everything I know about real estate I learned from the movies. I've got that in 3 pieces because it's so huge in PowerPoint. The slides, each group, I have it in 3 sections because I have 22 movie clips in it embedded in PowerPoint. So you can imagine how big those files are. And the same thing happened with when we got the gen up last year from Len Elder, who put them all in Powtoon. Powtoon files are huge. If I do a 3-minute video, it's not too bad. I can embed that into a PowerPoint and it works pretty well. But if you have something like the gen up and try and you can't share that with anybody, you have to download it. And you could actually go to Google Slides, but it doesn't map right.
That just, what you just said just shocked me. And of the people here, the newer instructors, did anybody tell you that you were pretty much going to need PowerPoint? I mean, everything the commission sends us for the update is always in PowerPoint, is it not?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that might be something we need to start telling people, or maybe is there a way to get a group discount on it? Because if the commission is sending us stuff in PowerPoint, you kind of have to have PowerPoint if you're going to be an update instructor, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is a fairly new thing, though. They didn't always send, when Trish Moreland was doing it, finally she sent a PowerPoint that was all text and everybody went, blah, we're not going to use that. And then
Yeah.
bit by bit, they've beefed it up. But it used to be, I mean, we used to not get anything and you were on your own. And then we got that thing from Trish for like 2 or 3 years, which if you were a decent instructor, you didn't use. And, or you might use a couple slides. Gave
That
you
was
the-
a nasty remark.
Don't tell me you were using it. Oh my God, no. If you were a decent instructor, you weren't using just that. How's that? Because you
No,
were.
I wasn't using just that. I always transferred it to, I've been using PowerPoint for 20 years, so I'm not going to stop using it.
All right.
Candace, I jotted that down for us.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Well, let's just talk again. I wanted to talk about some basic things. And I had somebody ask me the other day about display modes, especially those of us that have multiple screens. And so I wanted to check in because this, again, if you came in a little late, this is a very casual conversation. It's about making sure everybody that's here and anybody who watches this has, we have the chance to ask those dumb questions, because I tell my students there is such a thing as a dumb question. I'm going to answer it. I won't embarrass you, but sometimes you're like, it's a question and I just feel silly asking it. And we shouldn't feel that way in front of each other. So just checking, does everybody understand how display modes work? Does anybody have any questions about how it works?
Is everybody using Zoom? Like for the most part, is that what
Yeah.
everyone is doing? Just Zoom, like strictly, because there are other platforms that people use. So if, everyone is talking about just Zoom, but somebody here is not using that, then maybe we need to know. But I think for the most part, most of us are using Zoom to have our meetings.
Well,
There's, can I interrupt, Leslie?
Yeah.
That's a good point because I'm doing some collaborative work with ECU on a project, and they use Microsoft Team. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
But they're still using PowerPoint with it. Oh, Kim doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Kim,
I don't think Kim is alone.
No, I think there's a reason. The industry went to Zoom for a reason.
I mean,
Right.
so you're saying, and I don't use Teams. So you're saying in Teams, you don't have to use the display mode that's within PowerPoint. You can just feed it.
I'm not the one sharing. They're sharing, so I'm not really sure what they're doing, but they look like they're PowerPoint slides, but
Well, I guess what I was asking was, and this just, let me escape. I was talking about when you come up, sorry, I'm in a Mac, sorry. But when you have to set up your slideshow, you
Yeah.
have different options.
right.
And I'm just wondering in Microsoft Teams, do you not have to do the show type? Like for me, when I do it, I only do browse in an individual window. How y'all use the presented by speaker and you've got all those screens, hats off to you. I don't know how y'all do that.
Yeah.
You have to have two screens.
Well, I got 5 here.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I don't know. It's just for me. But again, it was something I had to figure out on my own. And so I wanted to make sure everybody feels comfortable with this. Yes.
Yeah, the question I have is that I did that, what you do, okay? But the problem I ran into, I had students saying, well, when I was saying to them, I can't see you, and they're saying, we can't see you. I said, well, there's a reason why you can't see me.
So that's a
What?
setting that they have to change in Zoom or whatever platform they're
Right.
using, because we get that every single time. We get people saying, oh, we can't see the presentation, or oh, we can't see everyone. So that is really much a setup for the whatever I guess platform you're using, since most of us are using Zoom, and we just give our students like step-by-step instructions on, well, you got to go to the top right corner of your screen.
Oh,
click
yeah,
the
yeah,
view
yeah.
button,
Well, yeah, but I'm referring to when Candace was doing that presentation to us a little while ago, minutes ago, we couldn't see her.
Oh,
Go
I
check.
should see her.
She was eating. and had an emoji over her picture.
Yeah, that was just because I was eating. So I figure the students see enough of my face. You should look at a guaca while my video's off. I'm like, y'all, the
Okay,
guaca
so-
is so much
A
cuter.
guac.
Take a look at the guaca.
I thought it was
Okay,
a squirrel.
I wasn't referring to that. Candace, when you were talking about, go back to the setup.
To this.
Go back to your setup.
No, escape. There we go.
Right here. So when you go to setup.
Slide setup.
Okay, and then so that it says browse by individual window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you do that, then nobody can see you.
No, because
No.
that's the only way I do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see me. So I think that's what Leslie was saying is it's all about how if we're in Zoom, which we're kind of, most of
Yeah,
us are,
Right.
if they change their settings to gallery. Oh, no, wait, is it gallery?
Speaker view.
So, speaker view.
Yeah.
Speaker view.
They would do that.
Okay, okay, all right.
But the student has to do that on their end. It's nothing that we have to do on our end. It's how
Yeah.
they want to see the whole meeting. Do they want to see the presentation and the person speaking? Do they want to see the presentation and the person speaking with the chat box? I mean, there are so many different setups that they can see, but it's not, I don't think it has anything to do with the PowerPoint, the way we present the PowerPoint or the
Oh,
way
no,
our
no.
setup is.
No, I'm not talking about that. I just, all right, no, I'm wasting a lot of time here, so.
No, Doug,
I'm
this is about us discussing, and I'm just gonna say, if somebody has a slide about that, clearly explains this to your student, I mean, I have one, but if somebody's got a great one that they love that explains how to use Zoom, please feel free to share it with me in the group, because I mean, it's weird, at the beginning, to me, all of us had to explain Zoom to everybody. Now you get mostly people that have used Zoom, but a couple of people who haven't. So if somebody has something they want to share, please knock yourself out. Just like, I mean, I have a screen that I shared with some people that was, the Zoom room rules. And I'm like, take it, because I don't think I should have to tell you not to sleep in bed in class, but apparently.
We have one that we use for all of our classes, and we put it right on the presentation, and it shows them not only, the whole how to use Zoom, but also how to rename themselves on Zoom. Sometimes we get students that use our nickname, or a student that uses their spouse's or children's computer or Zoom account. And it is horrible to have to explain to them step by step how to do it. So we just put it on the screen while we're waiting for people to come into the class. They're staring at the screen, and we say, please follow those instructions. And it's like, it's visual. It has, like step-by-step picture of what to do on the Zoom so that they can do it. 90% of our students do it. About 10% of them are still completely lost in some sort of island, and we have to rename them for the class. But for the most part,
That's a great
really
idea. That's a great idea. Thank you very much. I'm adding that to my list of things.
Yeah.
Jack, you had your hand up, darling.
Sorry,
I
Jack.
did. I had a couple questions. One of them was real dumb. The setup thing you just showed, that's the first time I've ever seen that in all of my 10 years of doing slides. And so I'm assuming I'll find it somewhere if I go back in PowerPoint poking over buttons.
That's why we're here. Thank you for asking.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was there. That's great, though. So,
So
anyway,
I want to say, Jack, this is
yeah.
a Mac, and I don't know if it looks the same on Windows.
Let me see.
It's similar, yeah.
It's similar? Okay, see, Cindy's like, yes, it is similar.
and one other thing, one other question, then I'll look on my PowerPoint and see what I find about that and figure it out. The other thing is, right now I've got two screens, my laptop and another screen. I've got you guys up there in the grid view, which I love that. I've got the chat room here. I've got the slide you're showing on the other screen. That's up to now. Every time I've been in a meeting, somebody else is the host. I'm getting the grid. I'm getting the slide with a few people beside it. I've never been able to separate the two. All of a sudden, for some reason, the last, I don't know, several weeks or so, all of a sudden it pops up like that. And I don't know what caused it to do that. So I'm not sure is that something I can control?
Yes, I can probably tell you how to do it. It's fairly easy. When you go to your view button on your call, go to the top right corner on your view, and then click on full screen.
You're talking about where the grid is.
Yes, yes. There's an icon that says view on the top right corner. And if you click on that, it'll give you different options. And if you do full screen, it actually separates both. It separates the presentation from the actual chat. So it puts you in like one screen, puts you on a Brady Bunch kind of situation where everyone is like on a little grid. And then the other screen will put the presentation itself. And you can even do even more. You can go to the bottom of your Zoom and click on your chat and your participants, which is what I do. I have multiple screens. So I have my chat and participants on another screen, and I put them side by side. So I'm always looking at, all right, who's here? Is anyone in the waiting room? And what are my comments? One of the things that I really like when I take classes as a student myself is having an instructor that has the ability to communicate with the class, not just when they unmute, but also when somebody puts a comment in the chat. I have sat in classes where the instructor says, don't put any comments in the chat because I'm not looking at him. And as an instructor, I'm like screaming, like, why are you not looking at him? You simply just drag your chat box to another screen and you're able to do that. So I think it's just kind of learning from that. So Jack, I hope that helped. Top right corner, if you hit the view, you're able to click the full screen and it will separate both of them.
That sounds good. I wish there's somewhere that the chat room, and whenever somebody put a chat in, they would make a sound or something. Because when you're teaching and you're looking at the slides, I'm the same way. I may have the chat room right next to my slide. I still sometimes don't see it. And so that's an issue.
I think it's just a practice thing. You have to kind of practice with it. That's what we have done. We just have a lot of practice, and we know. And also, most of the time, we have multiple instructors, especially with some of our classes where they're really big. Like yesterday, we taught a class with over 150 students, and Travis and myself were the instructors, and we had moderators in the class. But if he's talking, I'm looking at the chat. And if I'm talking, he's looking at the chat to kind of go back and forth to help each other. So if you have a moderator, maybe someone can say, hey, Jack, someone put in the chat, blah, 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 and that might help you.
Great.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
And Candace is bringing up a good thing with in PowerPoint, how you can set up your slideshow. There's different options of how many monitors you're going to use and that sort of thing. And I find it can be very confusing. So I'm glad, Candace, you brought it up. The one comment I want to make is many of you might be upgrading to multiple monitors. When you do that, you can kind of whack yourself out. That's why Candace brought it up. So you might be working fine and happy with slideshow today, but you add a second monitor to the side. Practice before class, because you're going to have to fool around with the slideshow settings. I agree, Candace, when it goes off on the other screen over there, now I've got 4 more things to watch and I want to go nuts.
I'll put myself out there. Somebody needs, like, sometimes with Zoom or something, I'm like, I just need somebody on the other end to tell me what's happening. If you need something like that, shoot me an email.
Reach out. When I
get around to reading my emails, which I only do about once a day, I will be, we can set up a time. I don't mind doing that. Like, so sometimes you just need to see, or like I'm trying to right now work on my sound effects and different programs. And I just need to know, what do you hear? I know what I hear. And I don't want to just have another, logged in on another computer. I want the full, like, somebody else give me the experience you're getting. First of all, can we just side note, Cindy, you got that wind on you looking like Beyonce. I don't know if y'all can see Cindy, but she's like,
look at her.
Oh
my God. She's so crazy.
I'm hot. I'm hot.
She's an old hippie.
No kidding. The 60s were good to me.
Go for it, Leslie.
So Candace, I wanted to kind of piggyback on that. When we transitioned over to Zoom, if you guys remember, we had literally a week to get our, what together and be ready to go. something that we did at our school, and I think I consider myself very fortunate that I have someone that is very tech savvy in that department. We actually got all of our instructors together via Zoom, and we practiced. We literally practiced, and we made each other co-host and host. And we said, okay, share your presentation and see how it works. And we really did it as a group. So I think, you know, if you don't have that in your school, please find us for that. Like, that's what this is for. That's what we're doing this for, to help each other out. So if you're struggling with either technology or you just need someone to run things by, either I'm always looking at the Facebook group. I am a millennial. I'm sorry, not sorry. So I'm always looking at the Facebook group. So if you guys have access to the NCREA Facebook page, just put it in there. Say, hey, is anyone available these days that can join a Zoom call with me and help me out or practice? We are more than happy to do. At least I speak for myself, and I'm sure Candace is right there on that. And Jim has been great helping us with technology. So that's what this is for, so we can be better instructors and help each other. Cindy, I see your hand up.
Yes, when you were talking about when it first happened and we all had to jump through hoops, what I did is I went and hired Betsy Coyne for 2 hours of one-on-one. I had her walk me through every single setting in Zoom. I had her walk me through some of the settings on my computer and was able to pretty much get my arms around it. So at least something happened. I saw that. So if you have new people coming on, you might just want to hire a pro that teaches this for a living, teaches Zoom for a living, and pay her and have her just walk people through every single Zoom setting, every single configuration. And I think you'll see they have much more confidence on using the software. That's my 2 cents.
Absolutely, Cindy. I mean, we're not experts by all means. We all had to learn as we went, and gosh, we messed up big time on a lot of things. I mean, I remember being on a call and exiting the call, terminating the call with everyone in it because I wanted to do something else and I pushed the wrong button. So we've all been there. Thankfully, we had a moderator and they took over and I was able to log back in. So we do things to help each other, but I think for a lot of us, this technology has been such a new thing, and I get it. I don't like change. So when I see something different, I freak out and I shut down. But I don't think it's the right time to shut down. We just need to embrace it. And it's actually, I will tell you, it's actually fun. I teach on Zoom all the time. And I mean, I miss in-person teaching, but I'm having a heck of a time, like a really good time teaching on Zoom. So you just have to know all the tools to do that because it is fun.
All right, so awesome. See, I love this. I love the sharing of ideas. Going to the next topic, master slides. And I knew this doesn't really go on this slide or fit in, but I had somebody ask me about master slides and I didn't realize that it wasn't. I just want to make sure everybody knows what a master slide is, because it doesn't have to necessarily do with your presentation that people see so much as it's a function of PowerPoint that can really help you. So is there anybody, are we good? Do we know about master slides? And are people using master slides? Talk to me. So Jack, is that a no?
Well, say more and then I'll know if I know what it is.
Right, so master slides are, when you go to the which button is it? It is the nope design button. Yeah, it's gonna be one of these. Nope. Which one is it? Draw, review. No.
I thought it was design. It's not design.
It's view for me. It was one of those, y'all. I do this all the time.
View. Okay.
View.
I thought the master slide was like the slide that you have on now that says skills or visuals, that layout is considered a master slide.
Well, so the way it works is when you create, like if I just say, well, this was a template, y'all. I didn't feel like starting from scratch. But if I do just say like add a slide, right? New slide. This is because the master says, there's a master that says every time you start a new slide, please give me a title box and please give me a text box.
Okay,
It has
I know
to
what that
look
is.
like that.
Okay, I know what that is. Okay,
It's like
thank you.
like a starting point for
It's
your
like a
slide.
starting point. And and so you can always go in. This is the master for this template, but then it makes it easier for people, for you to go in and add stuff or do whatever. And I didn't, I just want to make sure, because if you don't know about master slides, you are missing out on something very, very important to make your life so much easier.
So much easier. Otherwise, you're modifying the slide every time you bring it up. You don't like that.
And not only that, all of your slides will look the exact same layout, because if you don't know how to play with it, you're literally going to have different words, but the same thing in different places, or same places, which can make a presentation very boring. And that's not what we want.
Yes. So I just wanted to make sure about master slides. We were all good on that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Isn't it on the master slide that you can also put the background that's going to be the same for all your slides?
Yes.
Mhm.
You can do a lot of things with that same background or same design. You can put the same like numbers for the slides. So all of those things can go into that.
And you can also make different masters. So if I go in here, for this template, this was the master, but I can come in and say, oh, well, this format is going to be used a lot. So I make that a master, and maybe it's a different color background or different kind of layout. So it just makes life a lot easier if you're going to be doing repetition or something like that. Also, I don't know. I just love masters. Just kind of like the themes. If anything that makes my life easier, I'm all for it.
Yep.
All right. Well, then we also had, and anybody can throw in other ideas if they're thinking about them, but it was just mine. Printing, making sure everybody was good with how to print and how to turn it into a PDF and change your slides around or your handouts, things like that. Everybody does know how to create handouts for their students.
So I wanted to chat a little bit about the handouts, and if somebody has questions on that, we will definitely walk you through that, because, and I don't know if I just happen to have needy students or if it's just if it's a mutual feeling, but my students are very demanding when it comes to the slides, and they want to get them ahead of time. So we usually send over the email with the link and the materials. And I always put in a PDF of the slides. And I usually do a handout, I think, format, which is 3 per slide. That gives them a little bit of a line on the side to write. Something that I have been doing lately, and I think Jack mentioned this, or I forgot who it was, that said that the PowerPoint presentation can be gigantic, like a really big file. So it might be a little while. So what I usually have done lately is separate my PowerPoint presentation into the sections. Like I do post-licensing and pre-licensing. So we have, for pre-licensing, we do per unit. So unit 1, here are the slides for unit 1. Or if it's a large unit like 3, which is our agency for us, we do like 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. And we separate the handouts by the section. So same thing for post-licensing, like, 302 has 7 sections. So I have 7 sections for PowerPoint. And that's how we just give them as handouts, section 1, section 2, section 3. That way, if they want to print them, if they just want to print a particular section, it's easier than having to go through the entire PowerPoint presentation and finding which pages to print from that. So I like separating it into different units or different topics, depending on what class has done that. Toby's question, we have, Toby, and we love it. We absolutely love. He wants to know if we have used the new whiteboard feature in Zoom. We use it all the time in pre-licensing and post-licensing.
Can you go over it? I've never used it.
For
Yeah,
Whiteboard.
the whiteboard.
But
Yeah.
I use the annotate function a lot. I
One
guess
of the
that's
things-
different than whiteboard, but I
yeah.
use,
I don't like to use the annotate very much, because when you move over to from there, you have to delete it
yeah,
and like erase it, and it is a pain. So the whiteboard, just you can open multiple of them or just delete them, and it helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I go to show you this whiteboard, John, you said, do I have a trick to print from PowerPoint in iOS? In iOS?
Yeah, Apple.
I
Well,
don't know about
I
Do you
Apple.
can only
mean
get-
mobile or do you mean Mac OS? So iOS
Well,
is
yeah,
the mobile.
Mac. I can only get the 3 slide with the notes section to print on a Windows machine. I can't
Okay, I'll
get
show-
it done in Apple.
I'll show you real quick before we go back to the
Thank
thing.
you.
Go here to your print.
Yep.
Once you go to print, you're going to go right here to layout. And when you go to layout, you can choose 2 slides per page, 9 slides per page. Do I want the notes? Do I want the outline?
Huh.
However you want it.
I don't have that for some reason. I wonder if that's what version of PowerPoint are you running PowerPoint for
In
Mac?
My PowerPoint for Mac version 16.61
Of
and I have
365,
a-
huh?
365.
Okay, I'll double
Candace-
check and see. It must be something with my version of PowerPoint. Thank you, Candace.
You are
Candace-
very welcome. Mhm.
Candace, I have the Windows version open. So the way it should look, John, is if you go into File Print, it gives you a pop-up, and then File Print's on the far left side. One column over to the right, you can select what printer you want, how many slides you want to print, full page slides, how many slides per page, and all that. You basically fool around with that until you get it the way you want.
Yeah,
that
I can
help?
do that in Windows. I just can't do it on my Mac.
Oh,
Yeah, I know how to do it in Windows. I just don't want to have to switch to my my Mac. To my Windows laptop to do it.
When you're doing that, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe updating your Microsoft Office
Yeah,
on your Mac might be the key.
that's probably it.
And if you can't do it, just shoot me an email, let me know, and we can, Zoom together and try to figure it out. All right, so I know we were talking before that about the whiteboard and just making sure everybody saw. This is the new whiteboard. Annotate is where you're writing on whatever you're displaying, but this whiteboard is basically, you can write and people can put on Post-it notes and you can move stuff. And so as long as you have the newest version of Zoom and the students have the newest version of Zoom, they can do that. Chris, I see you. You need to get glasses, man.
They don't make quadrifocals, so I'm looking at too many things at the same time.
Candace, I got another question.
Yeah, of course.
On Zoom is when you're in Zoom and you're sharing your PowerPoint and then you want to use the whiteboard, should that be on another monitor?
So when you go to, how when you're in share,
Yeah.
that little share, all of a sudden all of your options are on a little strip that floats around the screen.
Yeah.
When you hit new share, and I don't think mine is set up so you can't see that. Can you see that little pop-up? I think I have it set up so that you can't see it.
No.
So there is a way, and I got to think about it, where you can say, hey, I want the people to see what I see on Zoom. Mine just isn't set up that way. But when you hit that new share, that option, because especially since I have multiple screens, so what I want desktop 1, desktop 2, desktop 3, desktop 4, desktop 5. Do I want the whiteboard? Do I want a specific window? You can choose what you're sharing. And I don't know if anybody's ever gone, but when you go to advanced, you can use your slides as a virtual background. You can do a portion of the screen. You can do a second camera. So when you pull up that new share button, you get options. And then there's even a files button too. I'm clicking it like y'all can see me, but there are lots of different options. So what you would do is just choose whiteboard.
Right.
And then you have it, and it's pretty, I want to say it's, if you've been using anything else, I mean, you see the buttons, these all look familiar, the icons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's actually kind of nice. I enjoy it. I don't necessarily use it that often, but I do like it. I'm sorry, Tia, we are not taking questions from people named Tia. Anybody else? What you got?
Oh no, I'll change my name. Call me Tina like most people do anyway. Were you just sharing screen 3, Candace? Because I noticed that 3 popped up at the top of my tab. So I was wondering if the students can see what screen I'm sharing, because I work off 3 screens.
Yeah,
So
they,
you
I
were just
do.
showing 3.
Students have told me that I'm showing screen 3, like they've seen that before.
Okay.
And I mean, I never tell my students I'm perfect. So sometimes by the end of a longer class, students are like, you're on the wrong screen, right? And I'm like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, Candace, screen 3. And I mean, they're like, and I know, because I usually have it always there on my third screen. I'm like, oh, my bad, guys. So
No
yeah.
worries. No, I was just wondering, can they see that? No, they've helped me along the way too, because they're like, Tia, remember you got to share again, because for our classes, when we go on break and we come back, our moderators share a timer, but now we have the timer app that someone has approved for us. So it's within the program. But we were doing timers from YouTube, like for the break time countdown. So the moderator would show that, and then I would come back on and just start talking and teaching. And they're like, whoa, 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 Tia, you need to share your screen again because we don't see anything. So I just wasn't quite sure how that worked. Like if they can see what number of screen I'm sharing.
So does anybody log in to Zoom using multiple devices? Okay, because and I mean like logging in several times. I use 2 devices to log in. I know Travis uses 3 devices. He has three actual computers that he logs in. And so Tia, this might help a little. I use 2 devices. So I have one that I'm just like, I'm still co-host, but I'm more like a participant so that I can see when the other device is sharing. So I get to see what my students are seeing, if that makes any sense. So that and I'm constantly seeing it. And I literally just have it as a screen. Like I'm not touching it. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm not presenting, but I always, maybe it's the control freak in me, but I always want to see what my students are seeing, just in case, because I do have so many screens open and I might be checking my emails on one screen. And when I come back from break, I don't want them to see that I'm checking my emails. So being logged in from a different device really helps me see what my students are seeing. And it has helped me troubleshoot a lot of the things that I may be struggling with, or helps me fix it. So maybe that might be something you want to do, log in with a second device. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a laptop could be, what you use. But I do use multiple devices to log in, and I just rename them. So because I don't want my students to send a message to that device if I'm not going to see it. So I just rename it, presentation. That way they know that they're not, or, second device, do not message. You can rename your Zoom call, whatever name you want to put it. So I just make sure that doesn't have the ability for my students to message me so that I don't miss anything there.
Yeah, Leslie, I do that too. I put a small laptop right down in front of me, so I can kind of look down and see it as a monitor. And I know, Candace, you like to use your red pointer thing. I do use Annotate. So my monitor that's sitting down in front of me, I have a little, and I do like, because I can, instead of using a red pointer, I can kind of say, yeah, I'm on this bullet here, or hey, this phrase here is testable. You really want to, so I do like Annotate for that, but I guess Whiteboard does the same thing, I guess. I don't know.
Well, so
Thank
I
God.
use,
Tim's on my side.
I use Microsoft. I have a Surface, so I have a Microsoft Surface. So it kind of does what a computer and a tablet does at the same time, and I use that to present my my presentation. And I have a little stylus pen. I can actually write on my presentation without having to use the Annotate button. That way, if I move to another screen, I don't have to worry about erasing what I just wrote, because I'm not using the Annotate from Zoom. I am just writing on my device, which I really like, because I don't have to worry about, switching back and forth. And so that's what I use. I use a Surface to just do my presentation with.
Amazing.
Cindy?
I have some questions on PowerPoint, particularly how to embed. So I'm hoping, are we going to get to that?
Candace, you're muted, my dear.
Can you see my screen? Yeah.
No, we can hear
Yes.
her. We can hear.
No, can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, it is actually, I was going to go on to the next topic. So let's talk about the visuals, right? So when we talk about the visuals and skills, we kind of already covered it already, that I just want to make sure everybody knows if you're going back from PowerPoint to Keynote to Google Slides, that's a mess. But Doug said that already, so thank you, Doug. This was more about design, but let's go ahead and talk about, let's just jump to video, pics, and icons. So, because you asked about it, it's just y'all. No, not that I don't love y'all.
Well, that's okay. You can go in order, but I was just curious if that was going to come up.
Well, it is, and I'll go in order. Just these were some of the, and I'm going to be honest, like these are some of the things that I know if you're a GSI or you're DREI or, you know, anything like that, one of the big things that we talk about is going to be the simplicity and the white space of slides. And is it just me, or do you all sometimes see slides and you're like, this slide probably has too much on it, right? Like, you know, I wanted to do, you know, you all saw I had like 5 or 6 slides. I was not trying to kill y'all, you know, I wasn't trying to present, but we do realize that we can do too much with too many words on a page. Right now, I mean, and I think it has to, my personal thought is it depends on what it is you're doing. Like if I'm trying to give a point, like show, oh, you know, here's something that comes together, I'll put it all on one page, but that's not the majority of my slides.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. And if you ever wonder about your slides, I think it would be great. Again, like we said, have another instructor look at them. We'll be honest without hurting your feelings. I mean, again, I'm always picking on him, but have you seen Chris Barnett's slides? They're a mess.
Okay, I was waiting for it. Now I'm going to go ahead and say my piece. I can't stand the fact that we have 500 slides for a 4-hour presentation. It looks like a flipper going flip, 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 flip. When people come to class, I am the show. The slides are there for the support, not the other way around. And they do have to say something substantial. So my slides are a mess, but my students know their stuff there.
And you know what I do? I mean, I say that, and you're right. Like, it just depends on what I'm trying to do. I like to tease Chris. Chris knows I love him, but it just, you have to have, if you're going to do it, I'm not even saying don't break the rule. Your students have to understand that, you know, hey, you're supposed to be writing this down or getting it. Just if you think there could be too much stuff on the screen, there's too much stuff on the screen. Right. And on that same note, just in case you haven't thought about it, the font that you use for your presentations, that is an important thing. Okay, so the first is, does everybody, and this kind of goes more technical, does everybody know how to change fonts? And does everybody know how to download fonts to your computer? Right. And I want to say, and somebody else would, oh, Jack, go ahead.
I was saying, I'm not sure about downloading fonts to my computer. I'm assuming you were saying from the internet.
Yes, you can. You can most definitely find fonts that are just different than the basic ones. So sometimes if I want to do something about a slide, like this font that's here under the content precedes design, sometimes I want a different font just to point something out. But that is not to say you should have a font on every screen, because I will die. But sometimes it's nice to just have a special font for some purpose. And that is an option when you're designing slides.
One thing I ran into, I've been a home designer a good part of my life too, and I use Chief Architect, and they have a font that I use because it looks like an architect, and I'd use it on my plans and all, and in slides. But then when I go to do a presentation and use another computer, it would not recognize the font. Well, maybe I've just taken plugged into it, and so my question is, the fonts I would download, like I'm assuming there's a site out there so I can download from, does that mean that everybody would recognize that font? Is that something I'll look after?
So what you would have to do is find the name of the font. So if I do you know the name of the font in general?
Helvetica.
Well, I love Helvetica. I love Helvetica New, as a matter of fact.
Most architects use Helvetica.
That's true, but Helvetica's in the PowerPoint. When I do
Yeah.
PowerPoints, I got some
Yeah,
word,
okay.
word, that kind of thing. It's in there.
So what I usually do, what I would tell you, if you want to probably get like a pretty good, if it's available, it's out there. There's a place called myfonts.com. And if it's for sale, generally it's at MyFonts. And now this is a paid site. There's also the free site of just of Dafont, DAFONT. But what you're going to do is you're going to download that font. And if you put it on a drive, depending on where you are, you can then put that font on that computer. Does that make sense? Or, and that would be true. Like, let's say you share that presentation with me, your slide deck. You would need to make sure that I have that font.
Okay, and one more question, and then I'll hush here. One more question. Is there a font that the typical Microsoft fonts that we would be on Word that we'd use on PowerPoint? Is there a particular font that everybody likes to use over the others?
Somebody said, oh, Chris likes Times New Roman.
Arial bold.
Arial.
I like Arial too. Yeah, but
How can you make your computer, everything on my computer, it comes out, it doesn't, the default font is something else and I don't like it. Is there a way to make the default font on your computer Arial?
Yes, and let me remember how to do it. I want to say it's in preferences. Is it in preferences? Again, I
did it so long ago, I don't remember.
You know what, and
Yeah, that's my problem.
You're
So
trying to
not
change
in
the
PowerPoint, okay, yeah. I could, but what about on your computer, not just PowerPoint, just
oh, now
Oh.
are you on a PC or a Mac?
PC?
Go into settings, I think, and then you're there. Yeah, but it takes some dive down. I wonder if I could do it on this one. Figure
Here
it
you
out.
go. I'll put this in the I will put this in there for you in the chat.
Oh, best way to do it. Google it.
Google.
gotta love it. Or you
Boom.
can also ask Alexa, she'll do it for you too.
Mhm.
Did I
There
just
you go,
say
sir.
one of
She
them?
will? Okay.
Well, she's hooked up to your computer.
All right, I'll go Google it.
Oh, well, I just put it in the, if you hit that, what's in the chat,
Okay,
that article I just pulled up will be there, and that'll be a great place to start.
okay.
But I think, Jack, you asked which one I like. I like Calibri.
I do too.
I like Calibri. It's just a nice font, but I say that I have so many. Look, don't be like me. This is going to be embarrassing. If you go down these, I have so many fonts.
Yep.
These are all extra fonts that I've downloaded.
I'm a font junkie.
Hey, are you another font junkie? You got to join me and my sister's Google Drive. We are like, do you have this font? Because
Yeah, I'll find one and I'll go, oh, let me see how that works. And I'll do a presentation and go, I don't really like it.
So I love my fonts. I just bought some House Industry fonts today. But okay, enough about fonts. Shapes. Again, these are visuals. Does everybody know that you can make shapes? You can edit shapes, the points and shapes, and we all know how to put pictures into a shape. We're good on that skill. Look at us. Yay.
No, if you can review it real quick, because I'm kind of new to all of this.
Look, this is why you're here. This is why you are here. And I'm here. It is not supposed to be the Candace show. Would somebody else like to teach her? I mean, I don't mind, but I didn't want it to feel like Candace was doing everything.
No,
Oh.
Candace, you got it.
You must have.
Good, Candace, you got it.
Yeah, you
All
got
right,
it.
so let's
You are the host, so we can't really do it.
oh, let's see. Let's add a new slide. So if this is my new slide, to add a shape, I usually go, now I'm in my home button. I'm just going to go to shape. And let's say I do something like this. All right, let's make a shape. Woohoo. If I want to change what the shape looks like in and of itself, there's going to be a button someplace, I don't know if you're Mac or Word, that's going to say edit shape. And when you do edit shape, you can either change the shape. So, oh, you know what? I wanted it to be something else. Or, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to make it so you can see. Boom, that better. Or you can edit the points. And once you click the edit the points, stop that. You can see how it's red now. I can move these around.
That's neat.
So now I can make it a custom shape. So sometimes when you get those templates and they're like, oh, that's a weird shape. You're like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Just edit the friggin' shape. And you can remove the points and you can delete them. You can change the corners, all of that. And so that kind of makes for something new and different. Right. And so I'm going to exit, edit, you know, so now this is the shape. And if I want to fill it, I'm going to assume it's going to be the same, very similar on a PC. But right here, I have the format shape up, like it's up right here. And for me, I have to go to picture fill or texture fill. So that's, you all see, that's the picture, the last picture I did, but I can choose whatever picture I want and it will just fill it. And if I don't like where it's sitting, then I can crop the picture and then go from there. So picture format up here, it says crop. And so now I could move it around and do what I need to do, make it bigger or smaller or whatever it is I need so that you can really get that custom feel without, you don't have to pay somebody for a template all the time, I guess.
I like that shape. It looks like a fold over.
Kind of looks like Pac-Man.
That's what I thought.
You can lift up the point and open it up and see what's underneath.
Well, I've done some pretty cool things in other ones where maybe I take this and let me duplicate it.
Yeah, and then open it little by little.
And well, I would just transition. So on this one, I'm gonna just see shape format, edit shape, edit points. So let's say I wanted it to close. And let's add a point. So I know it's not exactly right, but you get the point.
Yep.
So what I would do if I wanted to make it open and close is I would use a transition, the morph transition, and it would, do you know what I'm trying to say? Did y'all see that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's neat.
So the morph transition is your friend. The more, and all you, I mean, I loved your good transition, but the morph transition.
You just elevated to a new awesomeness, Candace.
But I don't, this is easy. So it's just none, but you can preview it and just, it morphs. It's going from one to the other. And it's just something small you can do sometimes that just makes you don't want to always have a transition. You don't want to always have an animation. Morph is a small, like in between, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. All right. Well, then my day is done. I'm done now. So I think, oh, and then you asked about importing, embedding video. Let me go back to this blank.
Since I have video questions, when I go to download it in my YouTube downloader, it asks me way too many questions. So I just pick something and it usually works. But then sometimes in my PowerPoints, I have embedded video, which I played the day before, and I bring it up today and I click on it and it won't play. It's like it's not there. And if I can find the video on my computer and then set it up on the next slide, it will play.
So
I have not had that. Has anybody else had that?
I had it once and I found out how to get rid of it. And I actually, Matt gave me this idea to use YTD Pro. And so I take YouTube files and I convert them to AVI files.
AVI?
AVI. Okay. And the reason I do that is because those files are much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they load better into PowerPoint than anything else. So YTD, like Yard Power Drive.
That's YouTube Downloader Deluxe Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pro.
I have that.
Okay. And so go in there and convert. When you find the video you're looking for, you go and you copy the video into YTD.
Yeah, I know how to download it. I just didn't know which format to use.
And then convert it to AVI.
Thanks. I'll try that.
Has everybody looked at any video converter?
Edit video converter? No. What is it
Well,
called,
that's-
Jack?
That's an app and it's free. You can try it. I don't do that much of it, so I try it every time. But it's
What is it?
worthwhile doing.
What is it called again?
It's called Any Video Converter.
ENV converter?
You're muted, Jack.
Muted.
Can you
Put
write
it in
something like
chat.
that? Yeah, put it in share, so I
Put
know
it in
what,
chat, Jack.
put it in that box.
All right, I'm just gonna roll on because I know it's 4. I said about 4:30. So now everybody knows, sure. Does everybody know you can merge shapes too? Everybody's familiar with the merging of shapes? Michelle, you're like, nah, I got nothing on that. So
Wait a minute, we're waiting for Jack.
Exactly.
I think
Did you
he's gonna
that
put it in the
there,
chat.
Jack?
Put it in chat,
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
Jack.
gonna put it in
4K.
chat.
4K video. I want to write it down. Downloader.
So if you're gonna merge
Yeah.
shapes, all you need to do is click on both of them. And you'll notice here, merge shapes comes up, but you get options. Now, I'm not gonna do, like, if you just wanna unite them into one, you're gonna combine them, you wanna intersect them, you just have to play with it because
See what works. Yeah.
you got to see, like, what is it you're trying to accomplish. But sometimes when you're trying to make something or a strange shape or something, it just makes your life a lot easier.
Okay.
All right.
So just a little, I like playing with shapes.
Got to play with it then. Okay.
And I will tell you, if you just Google like PowerPoint merge shapes options, that they're all over the place, like a little visual of, well, this is what merge does. This is what subtract does. This is what this does.
Sweet.
Right. What else was on my list here? Shapes, alignment. Did everybody know how alignment works? Okay. I love me some alignment. So if we come in here, the way I did this was purposely, this one's a box, this is a box, and then this is a box. But what if I want them to be aligned someplace, either, yes, you've got the left alignment. If it was words, like, when you come up here, you can say left justification, right justification. But I realized that some people don't realize here under arrange or wherever it is on a PC, I can align them. So I can make it so the center of all those boxes align. I could come in and I can make it so that it's just, well, that's probably a bad idea. Like, trying to think, are all of these different boxes? No. Yep. Okay, let's use this one. Just so you get an idea. And let me draw another shape up here. All right. So if I've got all 3 of these, I can come in here and I can say, you know what, distribute them. So, well, I distribute evenly. You get the point. You can play with it, but
neat.
you
Instead
can
of
do
dragging them around
distribute
yourself.
horizontally. So it just evens everything out for you.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
I like when I'm trying to, like, when I have different text boxes, if I'm trying to line them up for my design, I don't have to eyeball it, right? I can say, oh, now these are, evenly distributed. So if I put this one down, stop that. If I move this one down here, and let's do this there, and let's put this one all the way up here. Now you get a better idea. Now they're evenly spaced. I don't have to try to figure out how much space is even in between. Darg. That drives me batty. So that's just something small that it can save you a lot of time. Align to top, align to the middle of it, align to the bottom. You can definitely save some time with trying to make it look even. Does that make sense to everybody?
On Windows, they put all that stuff under arrange. So in Candace's screen, all those orange options plus align, all that stuff is under arrange.
Okay.
Very powerful stuff.
I love that little feature. What else do we have here? Alignment, videos, pics, icons, tables. I'm assuming most of us know how to use tables, but wanted to double check.
Candace, can I make one comment about videos and photos?
Of course you can.
I think it was Jack, or no, it was Doug talking about large PowerPoint files. One trick, if you use a lot of pictures and videos, is you can go in and compress them. So especially with photos these days, photos, you don't realize it, but you take a picture with a modern iPhone, the photo's huge. And when you put it into a PowerPoint slide, it doesn't actually change its file size. It just shrinks it. So under pictures or edit pictures, there's a feature where you can compress your pictures and you save a lot of space. I think videos can be compressed too.
Okay. Yeah, I usually when I get a picture that's from a phone, I will resize it before I save it.
Yeah, yeah.
John, I put this on the screen for you. That's the program I use to put the little circle around.
Beautiful. Got it. Took a screenshot.
Makes my life so much easier. All right. And then we kind of already talked about transitions. Does everybody know how animations work? No? Okay. So I'll use this page again. When you're trying to do animation, bless you.
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Okay, that's okay. So animations are going to be, I'm gonna actually put some words here. Yes. So what you can do with an animation is, and I'll change this just so you can see the difference. Stop it. Colors. Let's make this one red, and let's make this one green. So what you can do is you can come into animations and decide when you want things to appear. So let's just, I'll do a dissolve in. Since they were all clicked, when I make this a presentation, when you get to that screen, right, then you have to, this is how you get the things to appear when you want them to. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And you can always, I mean, that's not gonna say easy enough. It's fun, but you can also use animations to come in and move stuff. So your animation could be, it starts on the right-hand side of the screen and it goes over to the left-hand side of the screen. Or you can time it so that you don't have to hit the button. It will do it for you. And you can layer animation. So this happens, then that happens, then this happens. And there's a lot you can do with animations. It looks a little crazy on the back end, but you definitely can play around with it.
Yep.
Okay. And speaking of that, what I wanted to do was make sure that everybody knows, I mean, most of us that know anything, and I'm always doing stuff all the time. How do we learn? We Google that bad boy. Google it or YouTube. I am now convinced I can build a car if I have enough time with YouTube. YouTube it. That's what most of us do. YouTube, if YouTube's wrong, I'm in trouble. Right? And I wanted to give you some sites. These are 4 places that I absolutely love to get information from. And I will put these links. I'm going to end show. I knew I was going to have to do this. I will put these links in here, but one skill, I actually pay for his stuff. I pay for his Patreon account because I adore him. He is a guy on YouTube. Most of his stuff is free. And I mean, he's got tons. I mean, this is what he does. This is his life. He is, yeah, I already have, remember, that's nice. but he can tell you everything from the basics to fancy stuff. And a lot of these things where he's showing you how to do stuff, you can, if you pay, you can just have the template. If you're like, I don't have time to sit here and figure this out, dude, pay him for the template. It's beautiful. And he can do, I mean, he makes some amazing slides.
Hello, lady. 365.
Yeah.
Because
That's easy.
we have only 2 color
Now
stops.
let's just jump
And now
in
let's
again.
go to our and 1. Okay.
Like whatever he's doing
And
in
now
this,
let's check it out once again. And now as you can see, this light bulb and this planet are blending much better.
and
as
he
well,
will
you could do
literally
the
show
same
you
procedure
step by
for
step
these text.
from a blank screen. How did he do all of this? The home chill is amazing. I love him.
Can you
And so-
email his stuff to us?
Yeah, I will. What I'm going to do is put in the chat. Well, I guess you know what? I will. I'll put all these
Yeah,
in
but
an
when your
email.
presentation is over, the chat's gone.
The what
And-
present? No, your chat
Your-
can come back up, but I'll email it.
Why don't you just put your list back on the screen and we can all take a picture with our phone?
You want
Gotcha.
your drink? You want to sit a drink?
Yeah, let me blow it up.
Yeah, and when I edit the video and put it on, YouTube, I can copy the paste the links down
Perfect.
in the bottom too. So that way we'll have it forever.
Good. I got it.
Yeah, I was
Perfect.
gonna say it might work better if we actually get the links, because having to write all that crap and type it in our browser, it's gonna, if you get one icon or one
Yeah.
letter wrong, it's gonna mess it up. So
Yeah, and I'll do
You
that.
just type in like the one skill, the title she has, and
Yep.
Google them, they come up.
They come up.
yeah, too.
They'll
Yep.
come up.
This
They're
woman
popular.
is amazing.
That's what my plan was.
This woman is amazing. She does, and reason I put her in here. Yes, she does PowerPoint.
So some years ago, I ran
But
into
she
an
taught me Excel. It doesn't, you pick whatever it is you want to learn how to do, but especially Excel, she can break stuff down and show you how to do stuff like nobody's business. So she does PowerPoint, but she also does other stuff. When I have an Excel question or I need to do something, she's my woman. Look, she just recently got that, the most valued professional. Good, she deserves it. She's 2 thumbs up for her. She saves my life a lot. We also have, who was the next person? Learn It training. I guess I could have been prepared and pulled all these up for y'all, but Learn It training just has really great, if you're somebody who likes to sit there and just, okay, I want to start with beginner and then I want to move on and I want to just see how to do that. I like Learn It training. I tend to use them more for like Excel, but there's PowerPoint on here as well, live streaming, professional development. I mean, whatever you need, knock yourself out. And then the last one was this Teacher's Tech. And I like him, really, Candace, stop. I like him because everything on this channel is really for teachers. I mean, granted, they're not real estate teachers, but I have found it doesn't matter.
Hi there, Jamie here today at Teachers Tech. Hope you're
Shush. So like making QR codes, how to use Filmora. I mean, just a good guy, teachers. He's a good teacher, lots of information. These are all people that I go to when I need something. So I'll make sure when the email goes out that this list is available to you all, but also just YouTubing it. Some great people out there.
Hey, Candace, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you going to do these kind of programs again? This is great.
Yeah, the EdTech series we're going to do again. I thought we'd do one maybe on cameras and stuff like that, just because people need to talk about it. And one other thing, I know what I forgot to do. I knew there was a slide I forgot to do. What I wanted to make sure is that you all knew about this free pick. No, free pick. Do not put PICK. free or don't put PIC. Don't do free PIC. The porn will come up.
Oh,
I have
God.
made that mistake. It's free pick with a K,
Okay.
right? I'm like, what just happened? I was just trying to find the, it's embarrassing. Don't do pick with a C. You're welcome. Right. But this is one of my favorite places for free stuff. I actually pay for the advanced, but when you need free assets that you will be allowed to use without any questions, free pick is amazing. I think I pay $100 a year to have access to everything. But it's well worth it. $119. All right. So if you want, the unlimited downloads, priority support, all of this stuff, so friggin' worth it. So if I just put in for images, real estate, you'll know if it's free because it won't have a crown. If it has a crown, you have to be a premium member. And if you just want one picture, if you just need a picture, let me know. I mean, I pay for it. It'll be my gift to you. Like if you're just like, oh, I don't want to pay $100 for this one picture, email it to me.
Hey, Jim, we're paying Candace too much.
Well, you want to know what's sad is if you really need a picture, I pay this. My sister and I use this, and we have accounts. My sister and I split an account.
Yeah.
I have 2,288 images that I can download, and it's about to re-up again on the 20th.
Wow.
So if you see something on Dreams Time that you want, please, dear God, don't let them take our money for no reason. I don't even care. You need something on Dreams Time. All you need to do is just take the picture, send me this link, so I can find it. I will give it to you because we are bound and determined before we cancel this to use all of our credits. We done paid for them. So Dreams Time, they've got, all sorts of things. It can't do video. My credits don't work towards video, but I'm more than happy. They are not stealing our credits. 2,288. Please let me help you.
Okay.
We can, if you want to do something like that and you want to set up a time with me to Zoom, we will get a whole bunch of them. I'll put them into a Google Drive and give you access to them. They're not stealing my money.
By the way, you have 3 days for that.
I have what?
You have 3 days for your subscription to end.
Oh no, it's monthly.
Oh, okay.
It's monthly, and so every month we pay. But sometimes when I'm doing it's worth it because sometimes when I'm doing a presentation, I might use 30 or 40 pictures, but those add up. If you're doing, paying $3, $4, $10 a picture,
Oh, yeah.
whatever. Yes, Miss Cindy.
So what's everybody doing about the royalty agreements for using music in your classes? That might be a little outside of PowerPoint.
No,
or music that you put into your PowerPoints.
I don't put music in my PowerPoint for that very reason. But
Okay.
if I were to, I would tell you to go to, if you want the paid version, Graphic River. If what you need, and this has got all sorts of stuff, but I was just in the audio. If you need songs or things like that, you can use Graphic River for the paid version of a song. And then they do have, I should say my sister is a graphic designer. So this is not, I just pay for these things randomly. There's Envato Elements where everything is free. So since we are members of that, anything on here would be free, right? So music. So if there's just one or two things, but if I want a song, I definitely use this site or similar sites to buy the music. It's not going to be like pop music, but if I just want background music or background noise.
Now, if I want to play actual songs, if I want to play Aerosmith and a certain song from Journey or Imagine Dragons or something, has anybody bought the license that allows you to use that without fear of repercussions?
That's
like through
expensive.
ASCAP. Okay. Because really, you're not
Hey,
allowed to have
Cindy?
music playing in your class. Yeah.
Cindy, check with Matt Davies. He's done some downloads of music before. So you might ask him, he may have some ideas there.
Well, I've talked to Lynn about it. I was just curious. I mean, I know what the process is. I was just curious if anybody was doing it because I don't like music during my breaks. I'm an auditory learner. I don't like it, but it dawned on me my students might. So I've been polling them and they would seem to like music during break. And I was just going to have Alexa play some. I have to say that quietly, otherwise she's going to start talking. Play some during break, but that requires
Alexa, stop.
So some of the elective breaks that I have, what is it? The mob people there. What the hell's it called? I forgot what it's called. But anyways, it's a video and it has different I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyways, video. So instead of giving them a 10-minute break every hour rather, I give them a 15-minute break and they get to see a TEDx thing or something like that. And so because some people will take the break and some people won't, they'll just sit in their chairs. So I have that playing in the background.
I like that idea. TEDx in the background.
I can share a file with you. You want to see one?
Well, not at this moment, just because we don't have time, but I love the idea of a TEDx in the background.
So I have, I've always done that. Even towards the, in the beginning of the presentation, I have, especially when I'm using Poll Everywhere, I want the first slide is, everybody puts the information for Poll Everywhere in their cell phone. And while they're doing that, I have music playing in the background, but it's not, when I got that music, I think it was free music. It's just a score line. Okay. But it doesn't last very long. It lasts maybe 2 minutes. Okay. But that's all you need. You're checking their license numbers and all that. So that can be playing in the background. And then I have, let me just get out of here no, never mind. I'll figure out what it is. I'll send you what I pulled off, Cindy. I'll send you the link to it. Okay.
Thanks, Doug. I didn't mean to derail with that question.
You're not derailing. This is what we're here for.
I mean, I got nervous when I thought about playing music during my breaks and I went, I don't have the right to play it.
Candace, do you want a copy of that too?
Sure. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so I don't want to keep anybody over, so I just wanted to talk about, actually, does everybody know, before we move on, does everybody know you can remove backgrounds from pictures in PowerPoint? Everybody's discovered that one. I just want to make sure. Or remove background.com or remove vg.com. That's important.
That's new to me. If you could real quick go over it.
Yeah, escape. So basically, all I did was download a picture. And once I'm in the picture, bar up here, it says remove background. So even though it was a white background, my background right now is not actually white. So I just remove the background and then press the button, keep changes. So anything in pink is getting stripped away from the picture.
So if that's over something else, you can see through where the pink is now.
Yeah, exactly. So when I hit remove background, where the pink is, that would usually be hidden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of having to buy a PNG.
Yeah.
All right. But just wanted to let you all know what the next first, is this good? Do we want to continue to do stuff like this? Just a mind meld of things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay. All right. Well, next Friday, we're going to have our raising our rates. It's going to be a round table. So I've got some, educators coming in, of course, us. But I want to talk about, in my theory is, I remember, and I can't believe I'm going to say something nice, but I remember when I was first teaching, my finance scores were crap. And Mr. Chris Barnett helped me get my scores, up where they needed to be. I had to see how Chris did it. There's different things that you may be struggling with, like How are you teaching agency? How are you explaining this? And so I've got some teachers we've got coming, and I want to talk about it. Let's roundtable. How do we get our rates up? And sometimes when we look at our rates, we're looking at a giant big pile of it. What if you break it down? So you might want to look at your own personal pass rates and see, where do you have questions? And let's talk about the people who are successful in getting their students to pass those sections. Let's pick their brains, and how can we increase that? Chris, forget I ever said anything nice about you.
Taught you everything I know about technology as well. How long did that take?
He's silly. So that's to raise our rates. I'm really excited about that one because I'm trying to learn some stuff and get my rates up there. On Friday, June 17th, which you notice is after CE time.
Yeah.
I was like, nope. We're going to do an idea exchange, just talking about attendance management. And it's an idea exchange, kind of like we did today. Some people have moderators. Even if you have a moderator, how are you taking attendance? What are you allowing? How are you doing it? I thought that would be a great conversation. An education director roundtable. I'm not an educational director, but I figure y'all need to get together. So we need to find a date for that. And just reminding you that we do have the fall conference. I should have the rooms blocked out hopefully soon so that I can get you all information and kind of information about that. And I'm not saying there won't be anything between June and September. That's all we have. But I guess, Leslie, we need to plan another education meeting, and I will let you all know when that is. We will let you know, because I would love to hear from you all. What is it that you want to see? Yeah. I mean, just getting together like this is helpful. I mean, I like it. I learned a lot today, got some things. So if you want to help with that, I would love that. Yes. All right. Well, then I got to end this, and I'm going to do it like the way I do in class. Somebody tell me something you learned today. What was your takeaway? What was your aha, Chris Barnett?
I'm just slack on PowerPoint. So some of the features here's what I'm convinced. When it came to Zoom, it was important to be there first, but the next generation is going to have to be better, more engaging, and things like that. So I think that's kind of where we are now. So I've just got to get up to speed on it.
I agree. I think when we first were introduced to Zoom and teaching virtually, we kind of just put whatever we could together and we were on survival mode. But I really think that survival mode is over. Like, this is here to stay. Teaching virtually is the new way of teaching, whether you like it or not, or agree with it or disagree. I'm not saying that in person is gone, but we have virtual education needs, and we can't just keep saying, well, with COVID, we had to survive. All right, well, it's over. The survival mode is over. Now we need to step it up and make sure that we are more of a permanent thing. And I will tell you, teaching in person and teaching via Zoom is a totally different monster. And I mean, completely different monster. And we cannot teach the same way that we taught in-person classes via Zoom or via whatever, Google Hangouts that you're using. Is a totally different dynamic, totally different set of students that you get. Even though they were the same students, you were getting them in person, they are different students now because they are virtual. So, and we just have to learn and deal with it and be better at it.
It's a good thing that's one of the topics for the fall conference.
There you go.
I also think this was a great idea for schools that aren't doing Zoom. We're just doing in person till we get our act together for Zoom. But I learned so many things that can up my game in the classroom with this PowerPoint. So I really appreciate it.
Well, that's awesome, because we don't just use PowerPoint in Zoom classes. We use PowerPoint in any class, whether it's in person or virtual. So I love that comment, because it really does. It is here to help all of us be better, whether you're teaching in person, Zoom, both. It's just meant for us to be better.
All right, Jack, I see you got your hand up. What were you going to say?
Well, I teach this a lot in my classes, but this is true here. Most of us have been here in the business for a while. We've been through the COVID thing and with all the Zoom and the PowerPoint. But I always tell about this. Vince Lombardi, the famous coach of Green Bay Packers, he was always teaching the fundamentals. This is a football. And he said that when guys got the slump, he'd get him back in the locker room, and he'd start off with relearning the fundamentals. And I just left in my other business, I just left a conference down in Orlando about 3 weeks ago. And I've certainly heard the topics over several weeks, quite a few years, many times. But it's amazing how many things that I had forgotten that I knew, or how many things, because like in PowerPoint, we're all pretty good at what we do in PowerPoint now, but because we've done so much, we tend to sometimes forget about the stuff that we didn't learn as we were coming along. And this subject today brought up a lot of things for me to go back and just relearn, so to speak. And so I hope you'll keep doing stuff like this in the fundamentals, mastering the fundamentals.
That's the plan.
Chris, question? Or what, did you learn something?
Yeah. Just a quick question as well, though. I don't even want you guys to think about it. Just the first number that pops into your head in chat. Tell me how many you think, what percentage of people you think will want Zoom versus in-person classes in the near future. Just none of us know, but what is your perception? First, 90%, Leslie, you're saying Zoom?
Yes, Zoom. Yeah.
Okay.
That's from what we're seeing at our school. Of course, I think it really depends on what you teach and where you teach as well. We were in the Raleigh area, but we just have heard that students we have the ability to see more, to service more areas. We have students that come from all over the state, so we just don't have a lot of demand for in person.
Yeah, Cindy, I poll every one of my classes as well, and I get somewhere around 80% that want Zoom. And then it dawned on me what I'm polling on my Zoom classes. I polled one of my live classes, and 100% of them said live, but it was obviously much, much smaller class.
That's it. This is before we had live as a choice and they were stuck taking it. My last 3 classes this week that were live were sold out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well, I don't get paid anymore. I'm a one and done, but I found that interesting. They were sold out. They're my commercial people.
All right. Well, I hope did anybody else want to share an aha, something they learned?
One thing, we're talking about Zoom now, but the ability to do this in 3 dimensions on our laptop is not that far down the road, and that's going to change everything as well. It's going to be an interesting ride. I'll tell you that.
Jack, I've been looking at getting my master's, and I've been leaning more and more towards instructional design. But I think I want to focus on VR and AR in the classroom, virtual reality and augmented reality, because it's coming. Plus, if you don't have a VR headset, you need one. It's amazing.
And one thing that's driving this is the space race. The 3 guys that's trying to get to the moon first. All this technology has to be in place, so when you're on the moon, you can talk to grandma back on Earth. And so that's the same thing.
All right. Thank you.
One thing I want to share, so much great information here. Thank you, everybody. My takeaway today is to start playing those TEDx videos in the background. I like that.
That was nice.
I like that too. Anybody else?
There's some really good ones.
All right. Well, then, y'all, thank you so much. I'm glad it wasn't just like me and Jim and Leslie in a room. I kind of browbeat Chris into coming. So I'm so glad that you all were here, and I'm glad that we're finding it useful. And let us know if there's something else that, we can do, and we want to be more helpful as a group, and, get more people to join us in the in Syria side. So, all right, y'all have a great weekend. Don't work too hard. Don't spend too much time in front of your computers. Don't do anything that I would do.
The ability to do this in 3 dimensions on our laptop is not that far down the road, and that's going to change everything as well. It's going to be an interesting ride. I'll tell you that.
I think I want to focus on VR and AR in the classroom, virtual reality and augmented reality, because it's coming. Plus, if you don't have a VR headset, you need one.